fixing computers, or at least I'm going to attempt to fix computers. This here is our old Acer laptop that we do all our video editing and stuff on. It's an old relic, but it's I always said it's better the evil that I know. And this, oh, hello boys. This thing it's a hurting unit. The inside of it, I think, is all full of dust because the whole time it's running, the cooling fan is going to beat the band. So we're going to open it up, clean it all out. While we're in there cleaning it out, you'll see here that the keyboard is all coming discombobulated. So we've got a new replacement keyboard. We've got a new battery for it because the battery has been dead for like years. It's just totally dead. It shows charged, but if you unplug it, it lasts for about 90 seconds and then it's dead. And we've got a new power supply cord for it too, because the old one, the insulation is actually broken in one spot, and it won't be long before the conductors are broken too. And then this here, this is the desktop out in the garage. The hard drive got blown in it. So I found a cheap hard drive on Amazon for 20 bucks, but I have a funny feeling this is a laptop hard drive. I'm not too sure. We'll find out when we get in there. Anyway, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is remove the battery. And then we have to go around, and there's a whole bunch of tiny little screws in here we have to remove. All right, once we've got all the screws out, then we flip it over, and I believe at that point we can pop the keyboard out. I had this thing all apart once before. Yeah, see, out it comes. And there's a ribbon cable. And out comes the keyboard. And look at all the dust and crap and junk underneath there. Holy moly. Now, before we get too carried away, this is what happens when you eat Cheerios at your computer. We're going to double check our new keyboard that it's the same. It may look a little bit different, but we're mostly concerned that it fits the same and has the same ribbon cable on it. This is a pretty old computer, so the parts for it are actually pretty cheap because they're, for the most part, discontinued. So it's these tabs that you have to, yeah, that looks good. Perfect. So there's our keyboard. Now we'll flip it back over and we should be able to pop the back off. Like I said, I'm no expert at this, but I have had this thing apart before. Well, I'd say there's something holding it, isn't there? I kind of wonder if there's a couple of screws under where the keyboard was. Give me a sec. Yeah, look, see, there's a few screws here. We have to get these guys out. So we've got those few screws out. Now we should be able to flip it back over and get the bottom of it off. It says here it should come off. I've had this thing apart before. It's been apart a few times. This computer in its life has actually had the hard drive replaced twice. Here we go. It's just there's something over on this side that's holding it, eh? I wonder what. Oh! Maybe that screw that I forgot. Man, there's so many screws in this thing. See, in younger times, I would have just kept pulling on that till it broke. No, it still doesn't come off. Oh, there we go. All right, yeah, look at all the crap in there. So we're going to give this thing a good clean out. You see there's a bunch of junk in the fan there. This here is the hard drive. You can see there. So it's good to know that if this hard drive ever blows again, that you can buy a hard drive for cheap on Amazon. They're used, they're refurbs, but they were, you know, it was 20 bucks. But like I said, this is supposed to be for the desktop outside, but I kind of think that this is not right for it. Anyway, we'll keep plugging away here. Okay, now we'll give this thing a good blow. Look at that. See that heat sink there? That heat sink is just filled with dust. We like to Skype with Deb's dad a couple of times a week. And every time we start Skyping, when the computer starts working, this fan starts running, and her dad keeps saying, I can't hear you because that damn fan is running. Well, so we're going to try and fix that up now. And we'll also blow out in here. Here's the base. This is the inlet for the fan. And you can see all the dust and crap we got out of there. So now we can pop her back together. It's just a little, there we go. Perfect. And then we can put in all these little screws. And then when we're done on the bottom, we'll flip it over and put the few little screws in that go in from the top. Here's the last screw going in. They're all tight. We'll pop our chip plug back in. Now we can flip it over and put the 4 little screws in from the top. While we're in here, we'll give the screen a clean with some screen cleaner and a microfiber cloth. This thing is gross. My apologies. For something I rely on, I don't look after it all that well. Oh, look at that. This thing's going to be like new. Now we can pop our keyboard in. You got to get this in perfectly straight and then clip that down. Just like that. And then our 5 little tabs go in there. And then it just snaps in across the back. Seems okay. It's got a little different feel than the old one, but see, here's part of the problem. The old one, like the buttons were falling off and okay. Now we'll pop in our new battery. Ninja Bat. I don't know. Amazon. Had reasonable reviews, so it hooks in like that, and then there, it's locked in, and then lock it so it can't accidentally pop out. Now we get our new power cord out. We'll replace that, fish it down behind the desk. Give me a sec. Here comes the plow. There's a lot of snow right there in that intersection. There is a big drift. Hey Nugget, you watching the snow plow? Yeah, you can see how much snow there is out there in the intersection. It'll take him a couple of swipes to get that pushed back. And I'm one of the very lucky, and not by, you know, it just worked out that way, that where our house is, our driveway being close to the stop sign there, the plow is so wide that he probably gets 2/3 or 3/4 of the road when he goes that way. And he always goes that way first. So when he comes back, there's not really so much snow to plow, and I don't get the end of my driveway all filled back in. Lucky me. So far, so good. You can see our new power supply. It's got a tiny little green LED on in there. And our charge light is on. So that's good. Let's open it up and see if she'll come to life. It's thinking. What? Okay, we'll let that boot up and we'll be back in a minute. It still seems to be coming back to life. And as usual, when this thing comes back to life, there's something wrong with it. It thinks it's 2010. So I'm going to have to go in and reset the date, reset the time. We found this little spring on the floor after I put this back together. If anybody knows where in an Acer laptop this goes, feel free in the comments section to let me know. We'll see if everything still works. So far, so good. Everything seems to be working. The keyboard, we put it through its paces, did some typing, and it's all good. So last thing we're going to do is see if the DVD player works in it, and, you know, maybe that's where this spring came from. Who knows? I mean, this could have been... It kind of looks like a distributor spring. It could have fallen out of my coat or something, but I got a funny feeling it came out of here. But many hands have been inside this thing over the years, so who knows? We popped the DVD in it, and the DVD player works. So I guess our old computer is fit for further duty. Now, let's dive into the desktop. So we've put this thing through all its paces, and I haven't found anything that it doesn't do that I could say, oh, it's because that spring fell out. So anyway, don't ask me what the spring is from. I'm going to put it in an envelope and write, spring we found on floor, and put it in the drawer with all my computer stuff. Don't ask me. And I forgot to mention that last week we got a new Logitech mouse for this because the old one took a powder on us. But this little mouse, I really like it. It works great. It's a very nice little mouse. So here's our old desktop. I'll show you what it's doing. Let me power it up. And it tries to load Windows, but you end up getting an error message. And I've tried everything. I've tried putting this is the screen we get to. It can't find the hard drive. Basically, is what's going on. The message. See here. It's looking for it. And then the error message will come up. And I've tried everything. I tried putting the recovery discs in it. Nothing seems to help it. I Googled this error message, and it basically says, congratulations, your hard drive is fried. There you go. Error. No boot disk has been detected or the disk has failed. So, we have nothing to lose here. We'll take it apart, see if we can fix it. And if we can't, we'll just get a new one. That's how it goes sometime. Well, here it is. I got it free. And I went, and before I take it in the house, I gave it just a kind of a blowout from the outside with compressed air. You can see all the dust still floating past the camera. I think this is how you get into this thing. I'm not sure. But it would appear to us that this little screw comes out. Oh, it's actually captured in there. And then, hey, and then that comes off. So, what do we got in here? That's the hard drive. So yes, you can see It's a mega size hard drive, whereas the one we have is a laptop size. And I don't think the plugs are even compatible. Let me look. At any rate, we'll pull this thing out of here and see what we're up against. 4 screws and these wiring plugs, and it should come out. Maybe we can get some identification off of it so we can see if we can get another one. So this may not be so bad. You can see here they both have the same hookups. So what I'm assuming is that this is a disk-based hard drive, and this is a digital hard drive. That's my guess. I'm not being a computer expert, but well, like Deb said, we paid for it, so I'm going to plug it in, and we'll see what happens. Before I do that, now that I've got this opened up, I'm going to take it back outside and blow it all out with compressed air, and we'll go from there. Well, you can see here it does in fact plug in, although there isn't really any way to screw it to the base, but we're gonna work on that, and then we'll go from there. It's in, of course, none of the screw holes would line up, and the screws were different pitches and threads and everything, so we've just got it in there with a couple of tie wraps. As they would say, it's not going anywhere. I think I'm going to put one up around the top like that, though. That's better. Now I'm going to close it up. I'll take it back outside, hook it up, cross our fingers, and see what happens. Like I said, if it still doesn't work, I only spent $20. This thing is warranted, guaranteed good, so I'll wrap it back up and keep it, and we'll just get another tower from somewhere. Well, everything's plugged back in. Let's crank it up and see what happens. If anything. Oh, here we go again. So we're getting the same error message. So I guess that's it. This whole thing is fried. Well, duh. When I said this thing was still giving me the same error message, I never thought to stick my recovery disk in it. So I've put my recovery disk in it, and I've never gotten this far before, so we're going to see what happens. Let it play out. It looks promising so far. Of course, this is after I went online and ordered a refurbished tower from Staples. But anyway, lucky it was only $140 or something. But anyway, let's see where this goes. We're still not out of the woods yet. It says progress 19%, installing Windows onto the hard drive, because this hard drive that we put in was allegedly wiped. So maybe that's why I got that can't find the hard drive message when the computer first started up. At any rate, it seems to be installing it onto this hard drive. Let's give it a minute and see what happens. Moving right along, recovery disk 3 of 4 is in it now, and we're up to 54% progress. So far so good. It's still, I keep waiting every second for it to crash and burn, but so far it's working. Then I will assume that once it's done this, it'll have to go through and do all kinds of updates and whatnot. And the first 2 important jobs I'll have to do is get Chrome installed on it and get my account opened up and all that. And then right away get my Norton back installed on it. And then we should be in good shape. Disk number 4 is in, and we're far enough along now that it's telling me actually how much time I have left. 27 minutes, we're at 83%. Wow, I'm shocked. Well, here we go. It's done with the recovery disks. It's restarted, and now it's coming to life. While we're moving right along, we're doing the initial startup settings, because as far as the computer's concerned, it's brand new. So we're getting there. I've just chosen the language preferences and all the, I've set the date and the time and my time zone and all that stuff. So we'll, it's restarted 2 or 3 times. Let's see what happens this time. Well, looks good so far. Now I'm downloading Chrome. I couldn't get the thing to connect to the internet, but I restarted it and we seem to be okay now. So hopefully we can get Chrome installed on it. Then I can get my security installed. Well, we seem to be back. Now I got to I'm going to click around on a few things and make sure they work. And then right away I got to start getting my Norton installed on this thing. All right, Norton is going in. Apparently there's a Windows update that needs to be installed before my Norton can get working. And of course, Windows doesn't really support Windows 7 anymore, so you gotta go do some sleuthing around, and it won't do it automatically. And I want to keep this running on 7 as long as I can. So, well, we'll see what happens. Norton seems to be installing now, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that that is successful. I thought I may have had this old computer attached to, Norton has a service where you can back up your files to the cloud, and I kind of thought I had this computer hooked up to that, but in the end, after talking to them, there was nothing there. So everything that was on it before is gone. Thankfully, it wasn't really all that much, but I did lose some stuff. So what I've done now is in the house, I found this old, you can just see the light on it there, an old 1 terabyte external memory. So we're using that as our backup hard drive, and I've got it set up and it's doing its first backup now. And we'll let that go till it's done. Backup is done, so now I can get to work getting this thing all how I need it, get my files put back in. There's a few things I can remember that were in it, and get a background picture on it. That's better. Now we're checking for updates. It wouldn't check for updates before because there was an update to the update checker. You can't make this stuff up. Anyway, I've installed the update checker update, and now it's checking for updates. And hopefully it'll find some and we can install them. Wow. You can see here it found 150 updates. So it's downloading and installing them now. This will probably take a while. Almost done. Now it asks me to reboot it, and it's initializing or applying the updates to the PC. Still installing updates. Once I got the 150 updates installed, now this is the second batch, I guess, of updates that can't be installed until those updates are installed, and we'll just keep doing this till it says your computer is up to date. Still downloading updates. Once this is all done and it tells me it's up to date, we're going to make a new recovery disk that is also up to date. So we never have to go through this again. That's the message I've been looking for. She's all up to date. So now what I'm going to do is install Office, and then I bet you suddenly we'll have a bunch more updates to install again. Office is just finishing up installing, and then we'll check if there's any more updates. Now that we've installed Office, you can see another update has popped up. So we'll install this one and see what happens. That's exactly what I want to see. Now I'll run my Norton scan, and we'll get that all done and do a disk defrag and everything like that. And then the last step will be to make a new set of recovery disks. Okie dokie, so we're all good. There's not much more I could do with it now. Next, we have to make a new set of recovery discs. I did some reading and found out that even if I make a new recovery disc for this thing with all the updates in it, it just takes an image of the computer as delivered on the day it was new. So I will have to reinstall all the updates again anyway. So that being said, a new recovery disc is useless and a waste of time. The old one is all I need. But what we can make is a repair disc. I'm not quite sure what the difference between a repair disc and recovery discs are. But as a repair disc fits on one disc and my recovery disc took up 4 discs. But anyway, let's do that. So we start by opening our DVD burner, putting in a blank CD, and then we go here, control panel, back up, create a system repair disc, create disc, and it does the rest. It didn't like the first disc I put in, so we'll try another disc. There we go. We have successfully created a repair disc. And just because I'm here now and I've done so many changes and stuff to this thing, we're going to run a backup. So a little bit of reading provided the answer to my question. The differences between a recovery disc and a repair disc. The repair disc is precisely that. It will repair many errors in Windows if it's having problem booting up or there's a corrupt part of it somewhere. The repair disc can get in there and actually it has tools to actually repair that. This is what I'm reading in this article anyway, or how I'm reading it. Whereas the recovery disc actually has a complete copy of your operating system on it. That's why my recovery set is 4 discs and my repair disc is only 1. Also, the recovery set is only good for the computer that it was made for, where the repair disc, I just found out I didn't have to make 3 of them. 1 repair disc will repair any computer running that operating system. But anyway, live and learn, right? Mercifully, that's going to do it for my computer repair video. Like everything else we do around here, I'm no expert on computers. I just, between Windows Help and what I can find on Google, I can muddle my way through basic stuff. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this. I sure did. I learned a lot. And hopefully I don't have to work on these computers again anytime soon. Anyway, I'm going to take off now. I got some other stuff to do around here. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for continuing to support our channel. Let's see where 2023 takes us. And until we meet again, this is Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. So long for now.